Hey friends, hope the morning's treating you well. Hope you got your coffee if you need any. I got mine inside. I'm getting ready to go to Sweden. I'm taking off tomorrow morning and I'm going to fly over to Sweden, and I'm hoping everything goes well. I'll land in Stockholm, and then I have a bunch of gigs I'm going to play over the next couple weeks. And I know a lot of people who watch this channel are in Sweden, and there's one gig in Oslo also. But man, it'd be great to meet you. Come out to the gigs. We're musicians like myself. We talk, and we'll talk about when we post our dates on social media or something. And there'll always be people. You know, you'll say, "Hey, I'm in Chicago this weekend," and then all of the comments are people saying, "When are you going to come to Berlin? When are you going to come to San Francisco? When are you going to come to New Orleans? You know, when are you going to come to Festus, Missouri? When are you going to come to Leicester, England?" All of these comments, and then we finally end up going to some of those places, and we expect that person to be excited about it, and then they're like, "Oh man, I have to wash my hair that night, not going to be able to make it." Well, if you've ever told me, "Otis, you know, I'd love to see you in Oslo, I'd love to see you in Stockholm, and Malmo, and Falkenberg, Uppsala," you know, any number of places. If you've ever said that, come on out to the gigs. This is your chance to make it right. You can be the person, you know, that rare unicorn who actually showed up when they'd been talking about it forever. And it might just be the two of us. It might be a great big crowd. Who knows? I'm going to have fun either way. I'm going to be there. I hope you will be there also. And if you're close by, you know, I flew all the way from Indianapolis to Sweden. Maybe you can drive a half hour or something. I don't know. I'm not mad at you if you don't. I'm just trying to talk you into coming. We'll have a good time, I promise. I've toured Sweden quite a few times over the years now. The first time I went, we had a crazy, crazy tour. I ended up playing 29 gigs in 28 days, and it was a lot. It was hard, and it was rough around the edges, but man, the best of it was a really, really good time, and the worst of it was still stuff I'd go do. You know, there was some rough edges around it, but it was really good. I've met some extremely nice people in Sweden. There are people in Sweden whose very first gigs they ever put on, that they ever promoted, was me. And I think my friends in Falkenberg, the first time they ever promoted a gig, they did it so they could get me to come there. And that's one of the things I'm the proudest of whatever sort of career I've had. The fact that people started promoting gigs to put me on, and then they went on to promote dozens and dozens and dozens of gigs after that. So all of these other artists were able to keep coming back just because they had that first gig of an artist that they dug, and it just happened to be me. So I'm very proud of that. And my memories of Sweden off the top of my head of fun times was I remember I flew, I believe it was like 4 times in a week. The drives in Sweden are pretty long, so sometimes you'll fly on commercial airlines. It's SAS Airlines, and they've always been pretty good to me. But I remember I went through airport security, and no one checked my passport. No one asked me for any ID at all. They asked me to show them my ticket stub, that I actually had bought a ticket to get on this flight, but no one asked me for any ID. And I was thinking, okay, they're going to check me at the gate. And at the gate, no one asked me. They just checked my ticket stub. And I'm sitting on the plane of this first flight, and I'm just kind of worried. I'm just, you know, I'm by myself. I don't have anybody to talk to about it. But I was just kind of thinking, am I going to be in trouble if I land? And then they ask me for ID or something, and they don't see me in the system scanned at the previous airport. And I ended up landing, and I walked right out of the airport, and I was just like, what in the hell? What just happened there? And like I said, I ended up flying 4 times within a week, and I think it was like Stockholm to Oslo to up to Kiruna to Copenhagen. I don't remember all the different places I flew, but I did it 4 times and no one ever asked me for ID. They don't care. And then, so my American friends, think about that. This is one of the things I love about traveling is we get introduced to these different ways that other people live. And I really like the idea of a society to where you're not always, there's no need to, they don't have fears of something happening, I guess because things don't happen. I don't know. I don't want to take this down some road that I'm not ready to walk yet. I'm just saying that happened and it's amazing to me. The only thing they cared about is, did you buy a ticket? And, or did somebody buy a ticket for this seat? And another thing I can remember happening at an airport is, okay, on my rider, I never asked for food backstage or anything. There's a thing called a rider, and when bands tour around, that's sent in advance so that they know what kind of food that they want backstage. And it's really just kind of a request. A lot of the venues will just scratch out everything. But me, I just want water. I want a lot of water I can drink. If they're going to spend any money on food or anything like that, I'd rather them just give me the money, And I just would rather it be easy on them. And then my idea is I will ask for so little so that if I do say something is wrong and it's something that I want to, if I want something done, about the gig, then they'll know I'm not just being an asshole about it, because I'm being reasonable about other things. At least that's how I hope it comes across. And people are cool about it. But sometimes you show up and people are like, we'll get you some food, man. So there'll be like a cheese plate or something backstage. And sometimes you take the food and you stick it in your backpack and eat it later, some of the food, if it'll, you might eat it for breakfast the next morning or something like that. And I remember going through an airport, and I have a green backpack I should have carried out here with me that I've had I've had it for almost 30 years. I bought it for $1.50 at a thrift store, and it's my carry-on backpack that I just carry everywhere. $1.50, bought it secondhand at a thrift store 25, 30 years ago, and I'm still carrying it around. That's a pretty good bargain right there. But I'm going through the airport, and when they're scanning everything as I'm going through security, something shows up. So they ask me if I'll come aside, and I have that backpack, and they're like, we need to go through this. Is that all right? I'm like, yeah, it's cool. So there's a lot of zippers and a lot of compartments, and this agent is like looking through all this stuff and looking and not really finding anything, but looking really concerned. And excuse me. And as she's doing this, these other agents start coming over. And after a while, there's probably 6 or 7 different agents looking at the backpack, all standing around while I'm standing there, and they're going through it. And they're just going through it, looking for something. And I'm thinking, what in the hell is in my backpack? And I really started thinking I'd screwed up. I didn't know what was going on, but I'm just kind of standing there calmly and quietly watching. And this agent, with this really serious look on her face, finally gets to something, and she smiles real big, and she pulls it out, and there's a butter knife. And she holds it up, and everybody just starts laughing out loud. They all laughed, and I guess the butter knife was from the night before at the venue, at the gig. I must have taken and put that in my bag accidentally or something, and because I had cheese with it, needed to cut it, and so I didn't even know it was in there. And she's like, "You can't have this, sir." But they saw that. You can imagine what that looked like on the x-ray, and they probably thought that I was going to stab everyone on the flight. and but they just laughed out loud and were really, really nice and laughed about it on the plane. And it seems like even once I got on the plane and we were in the air, when the person came by asking if you want anything to drink, they're like, "You don't have your knife on you, do you?" No, I'm not. I'm cool. But also, here's a story about Sweden that just popped into my head. I've played at a few different prisons over the years, and I'm going to try to remember the details of this because I don't think I've ever told this I don't think I've told this in public. But when I played a prison in Norrtalia, and it was, when you see Scandinavian prisons, it's just a whole different thing, man. I'm thinking of what it's like back in the States, but people are treated like human beings, and the vast majority of the people in there are in for some kind of a drug offense, like smuggling marijuana. Like, one of the things that shocked me about Sweden is all of these people that I'd meet that had never ever smoked weed or anything, and that's a different thing about just one of those things that you don't know until you travel. There's just not much of that, and what people end up in prison because they have very strong drug laws. And not saying that's good, I don't know, but anyway, I play in the prison, and then we're in the this dining area, and the folks that are taking care of me are like, so far I don't know what these folks are in for at all. I haven't figured out that it's mostly drug offenses. I'm just in a prison. That's where my headspace is. And someone says, "Otis, would you like to have dinner here in the cafeteria with the fellas, with the inmates?" And the truth is, no, I did not want to, but I didn't feel comfortable saying no because I was kind of in the middle of a crowd of people, and I'm like, "Yeah, man, why not?" And I thought about it after I said yeah. I'm like, "Yeah, that's what I want to do. Let's get the experience. This is the right thing to do." And I sit down, and I'm at a table with a bunch of others, a bunch of inmates, strangers. And I'm sitting there and eating, and I kind of look up and look around, and I realized that the folks who were taking care of me had just left, and I was in there by myself. And I'm looking around for somebody. There's no guards or anything. I'm just in there, with the general population. And I was thinking to myself, in my head, I'm thinking of American prisons. And I'm thinking, well, I guess this is how it ends. This is it for Otis. And I'm thinking, hopefully there's some scumbag publicist out there that can really make a big deal out of this, and Amy can make some money off of some sales, as my stature rises for being murdered in a Swedish prison. And I'm thinking stupid things like that. I actually wasn't thinking that, but I just sit there, and everything was completely cool. Everybody was super nice. We just started talking about music, and I believe they said that Johnny Cash once made a live album in that prison, and I think it was sold in Scandinavia. I'm not positive that was the one, but I think it was. People were just completely cool. It was mellow, and it was just one of those moments when you realize how different societies are. There's not the same amount of just violence that we have in American prisons. It's just a different society, and I don't know. That's a story I tell to some friends of mine every now and then. I don't know if I've ever told that in public or not, and I hope I got all the details right. I might have fudged a little bit there accidentally, but I love that about travel, man, is that you learn things that I would have never known unless I just got around some working stiff on the other side of the world. And sometimes I learn things that mess up my preconceived notions, or the way that my mind is naturally skewed one way or the other. But it's cool. I dig that a lot. There's a Mark Twain quote about travel being I should memorize it. Something about travel being fatal to prejudice and bigotry, all kinds of something like that. But maybe somebody will post that down below. So if you're anywhere near Sweden, if you're anywhere near any of these gigs, I'll post the dates down below, and I'll be on a plane, and I'm going to do my best to check in and post some stuff on the road, and I hope you guys enjoy it. But if you're anywhere near there, it'd be great to meet you. If not, if you're somewhere else, tell me where you are down below, and maybe I'll get to that town one of these days. Just maybe. Maybe I was there last week and you didn't know. But anyway, I'll talk to you soon, and I'll see you on the road. Much love to you.